Thursday night here at the Politics Bar. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. We have some amazing people, including the one, the only Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Woo! Thank you for coming into the bar tonight. We are extremely honored to have you here. It is a fantastic bar. Jody's in the LA end of the bar. I'm in the DC end of the bar.
Oh.
And I gotta say, things are looking beautiful there in the LA end of the bar.
It is.
It is a gorgeous place. So we got to ask you. We know that you've been working extremely hard out there, but we also know that you used to be in the House. And, some of your friends there were, they were working, but some of the people they weren't working with were not there for, almost 50 days.
Exactly.
I have to ask, do you prefer being mayor, or would you prefer to go back to the House?
No, I could not go back to the House. I could not go back to the House. But let me tell you, though, I absolutely miss my friends.
I bet.
Right.
And I miss the work.
Right.
But, and I was there for the last shutdown, which was the longest shutdown, 35 days.
Right.
And it was for health care as well. It was the Republicans who were demanding the end to the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
It's like you're shutting the government down so the American people won't have health care.
Which doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense. How are things going in our town? Because I'm a native Angelino, first off. And so with the shutdown and SNAP and all that, how has it affected our residents because of what's happening nationally? I mean, I assume we've been helping with food banks, but can you tell us what happened during all of this?
Sure. Well, it was a triple whammy because remember, people are still traumatized because of the raids, which, by the way, have not stopped.
I know.
Yes,
okay.
The volume is not as much, but they do go on almost every day, which still has that blanket of fear across a lot of neighborhoods. And so many families are of mixed status.
Mm-hmm.
So, you might not qualify for SNAP because you're undocumented.
Right.
But, the people that your aunt, your cousin, your grandmother are.
Right.
And so people were already suffering economically. So this was, another punch in the gut. And then just all of the workforce, the federal workforce that was traumatized at the beginning of the year because of DOGE Phase 1.
Right.
The administration used the shutdown as DOGE Phase 2. Worried about our airport, in terms of safety, but also just in terms of flight cancellation. So, yes, Angelinos rallied around each other, just like we did at the beginning of the year for the fires, the middle of the year for the raids, and now another assault from the federal government on Los Angeles has kept us bound together, but supporting each other very much.
Okay. Because you were, as far as I'm concerned, you were a lovely mayor, and I voted for you. And I have friends that lost homes in the Palisades fire. And I know you're not responsible for Altadena or Malibu because different cities. With regard to the storm that's coming in, what are you preparing for the Palisades, especially because of the fire burn? I mean, that's important. I have friends that are rebuilding, and I know the rebuilding is going way faster than any of us thought it would. And thank you for that.
Let me just say, too, that with anything this massive of a scale, there are going to be hiccups. Mm-hmm. And so if there are people that that are experiencing hiccups for one reason or another, the part, though, that's the most troubling is the parts we don't have control over, like the insurance industry. Our individual families' personal finances or their situation. Mm-hmm. But yes, there's over 300 homes that are already in one phase or another of construction. We've approved more than 1,100 permits. If you hear Trump, he says nothing is happening. But today that there's a Senate hearing in the Palisades with two kooky senators, Rick Scott and Ron Johnson. I don't know that anybody else is attending. And they've attached themselves to elements within the Palisades that I would say are not the ones that are on the up and up. And so just to continue in another area, not immigration, but the trauma and the grief from the wildfires, to stoke that for your political game, to do a performance in the Palisades today, all it does is just, make people, re-traumatize people over and over.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, Rick Scott is Florida. Johnson, I mean, Johnson's not from California either. So why are two senators who aren't from California in California messing around when they should either be back home or in Washington? That doesn't compute to me.
Exactly, but they're here for performance art,
Right.
you know, and they are dancing on the grief of thousands of people. And I just think that you know is so unfortunate. They want to investigate Biden now because remember Biden invited me to Ghana. And
Right, which
what
is
was I
dumb.
over there, and what secret deal was going on, and so it's just to stoke people's.
It's so dumb that they do these things because I mean there are all kinds of reasons. Look, the economy out there. You got it rolling there in L.A. and obviously working with Governor Newsom, California, fourth. Some people still say fifth, whatever, largest economy in the world. I heard that you guys are ahead of your green jobs goal, and I saw a headline in the L.A. Times this summer. I kind of looked it up today again because I was like, wait a minute, did I see something about a blue wave? Sure enough, L.A. Times had this summer in June, L.A.'s blue economy sparks a new wave of business growth, talking about the ocean economy activities.
Yeah, that is so fascinating to me. Yeah, it's out at our port. The largest port in the Western Hemisphere is right here. 40% of the nation's goods come through our ports. And yes, they are starting a whole blue economy of exploring the ocean in ways for economic benefits and environmental stewardship. And so I think it's really, really fascinating. And it reminded me of when I was in the state legislature and we passed the first greenhouse gas bill. Right. And, never would I have imagined the multiple industries that came from climate change. And I think this is embarking in a whole nother category that's going to result in the same way.
And also, I mean, I walk very early in the morning when it's dark out in my neighborhood. I live in North Hollywood Valley Village area. And I've noticed the homelessness, because I've been here 32 years. And I've been walking the streets, which sounds wrong. But I
not that way.
Not that way. But I mean, I've noticed that the homelessness, at least in my little area, has gotten better, especially the place. I don't live near there, but I know you recall the parking lot on Ventura near Lancashire that was a homeless encampment forever, and it's completely gone now. Are you getting a NIMBY thing from people that I would like tiny homes in my neighborhood for people that can't be housed?
No, it's mixed, but the overall sentiment that I feel all around the city is a recognition that more housing is needed.
Yes.
Good.
Not so much not in my backyard, as opposed to maybe not on this street.
Right.
Okay.
And I always talk about Sherman Oaks, but I'll also talk about the Crenshaw district. Because in Sherman Oaks, they do not want to disrupt their single-family homes, but they do promote housing on the commercial corridors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
to me, that's the best way to do it.
I agree.
You don't force it, but you do it with community.
Right.
And so if you look at Crenshaw Boulevard, the councilman there, who's our current council president, Harris Dawson, he's really transformed Crenshaw into residential. Now, if he hadn't have done that, then those neighborhoods where those predominantly African-American families fought so hard to be in,
right?
They weren't even allowed in those neighborhoods before.
No, my dad grew up there in the 40s, so,
yes, yes. And so those neighborhoods would have been completely destroyed with a patchwork of big apartment buildings.
Right.
Right.
And so, again, I think that we have to address it in a comprehensive way. But our first effort was street homelessness and getting people off the street. And when you see the encampments gone, those people are housed. They weren't just moved from one street to the next.
Good.
And they're housed in motels. But, L.A. needs to emulate New York.
I agree.
Because New York has 80,000 homeless people, 80,000 to our 46. And 97% of their unhoused population are housed in some temporary interim housing. And I'm not talking about big warehouses with cots. I'm not talking about that. I mean, we know how to do it better now.
Right. The thing, I think you definitely deserve this when it comes to the homelessness issue, because it's been a big issue for a lot of folks in LA. And honestly, I think maybe some of the stuff that you learned when you were in Congress, where, like you're talking about, how to find solutions for some of the housing. I think, what is it? Is it Austin has been doing really good with homelessness? I think you guys, I saw some statistics said, what is it? The first decline in 6 years, nearly doubled the number of people that have been moved into permanent housing. You're finding the thing that kills me. So, we knew you were coming to the bar tonight. We were like, yeah, it's great. But I saw this morning, headline, that the Trump administration wants to drastically cut grants for programs that work, like Housing First programs, which is some of the stuff that's been done in Austin and in New York and that you're doing in LA. And I'm going, so we've worked hard to find solutions, and now the Trump regime wants to
decimate them.
Those? Yeah. That doesn't compute to me. Since you found solutions, do you have any idea of how you might deal with this, or if their actions might affect LA at all?
Well, yes, it will absolutely affect LA. And basically what they're saying, though, is they want to shift it more to shelters, which is dialing the clock back.
Yeah.
Right.
The kind of shelters he's talking about are the ones I just described.
Right.
Big warehouses with cots. But we have learned how to put people in interim housing that is there where they have some semblance of dignity and privacy.
Right. Respectful
That's
housing.
cheaper than a motel room, for example. And so we need to focus on that. But back to what you were saying before about having served in Congress, let me just give you an example of how that's been helpful.
Okay.
So this is crazy. It used to be like a little over a year ago that if you were a veteran and if you received veterans benefits like disability, the federal government counted that as your income and then said you made too much money, so they wouldn't give you a housing voucher.
Right.
We literally had 3,000 unused vouchers in the city of Los Angeles because of that policy. We had the veterans and we had the vouchers.
Oh, geez.
And so because I do know DC, I figured out how to get it changed. And so I worked with mayors across the country in the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I chaired the task force on homelessness.
Nice.
Took 50 of them to D.C. We went to the White House, the Senate. It took us a year and a half, but we got the federal government to basically relax that requirement. And then the new VA administrator is Doug Collins from Georgia. We worked together, Republican, big-time conservative. We worked on foster care and criminal justice reform, believe it or not, together.
Right. Wow.
Right. I remember that, actually. Yeah.
I met him at the VA. I told him about this policy. So we're having actually over at the mayor's residence on Sunday an event for veterans, and we're going to kick off a massive campaign in January. We've been working to get those vouchers down. Now they're down to about 1,200.
Nice.
But all we need now are the landlords. So we're going after some of the big corporate apartment owners to say, do your patriotic duty and take in a veteran. Yeah. But I actually started working on this issue in the 90s before it really exploded.
Right.
So it's my community-based organizing plus my legislative work that allows me to see the pathway to some solutions that others might not. At the end of the day, it's always about relationships, right?
Exactly.
Especially in politics.
Yeah, 100% right on that one. Yeah. Oh my.
So in the 90s, you were like 12 years old, right? 12, 13?
Nope.
You have seemed fairly timeless, Mayor Bass. I got to admit, I've been working in media for about 30 years and national media for a lot of that, and it's like, oh no, she's still just smiling and happy and working along. I do remember when you were in Congress and you worked with Doug, and that was one of those weird things where you're like, and yet you wanted to get stuff done, and you were getting stuff done, and clearly you're getting stuff done there in L.A. So,
and we, as an Angelino, we all appreciate it, even those that don't really realize that you're doing the work because they're not paying attention. I know you're doing the work.
Thank you. And any of your friends in hiccups, please reach out and let us know. So we
I
can
will,
resolve.
absolutely. A friend of mine, she lived in her home in the Palisades for 30 years. The only thing that survived was her brick mailbox.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, we're rebuilding. So, I mean, I'm glad that because my husband has classic cars that he drives. Once Sunset was reopened and and PCH was reopened, he started driving. He goes, yeah, building is going on. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. And so thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Mayor, good luck to y'all this weekend. I know you got some rain out there, but I know
we
that
have
you
a
are
storm
prepared.
brewing.
Exactly.
That's right.
And you guys have some of the most fantastic staffers there, Mayor Bass.
Yes, you do.
So, you know, hats off to them as well. Thank you for coming into the bar tonight.
We appreciate it so
really
much.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Look forward to coming back.
Oh,
Thank
yay.
you,
Thank
Mayor
you
Bass.
very
Yes.
much. We appreciate
Come
that.
back, guys. Yes. Mayor Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, California. One of the best cities in the country. We're going to have to talk to you again, Mayor Bass, when the Olympics is coming in.
Yes.
So, look, we still have the drink of the day coming up. We have John Fugelsang, who's spent a little time in L.A. as well, coming up. Freshen up your drink and come right back. It's Thursday night here at the Politics Bar.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back after we pay some bills at the Politics Bar.